Alright guys, so this video will probably be liked by half of you and disliked by the other half of you. Or you might all just think I'm an idiot and hate the video. Anyways, it is what it is. Now, the reason I say this is because this figure, at least in the spaces that I've personally seen, like on Instagram, on YouTube, possibly on Reddit as well, opinions on this figure are very, very contentious, let's say, okay? And essentially, I feel personally that people who, let's say, criticize this figure, at least on Instamash's Instagram page, right? People just get their pitchforks and go after them, and it's like, dude, just like relax, okay? So, my goal with this video is not to offend anyone who, say, works at Bandai or helped to design this figure, to engineer this figure, and so on, okay? Because I do think this figure has very strong potential. But there are several issues that I have with the figure that I would like to voice in this format, okay? In the hopes that me expressing these views and perhaps through this video helping to highlight others who also share these views or similar views will help to improve this figure or improve Dragon Ball Goku figures going forward, okay? So that's really my goal. It is not, trying to rile people up or anything, but, these are action figures, okay? We're allowed to have different opinions about them. If you're so offended by my figure that you're just angry, then you really need to evaluate, like, how you view life. Anyways, so my critique of this figure can be summed up in two very simple words, okay? Gaps and flaps. And ironically, they rhyme, which is kind of cool. But before I get into all of that in detail, I do want to highlight what I do like about this figure, okay? What I like about this figure, I would say, aesthetically, when it's just standing like this in the box, for example, it looks pretty good, okay? Like the finish of it has like pretty much a matte finish. Let me see the head sculpts. Where are the head sculpts at? Here we are. This is from 86 Reviews review. He showed the head sculpts like in a panel like this, and I really like this setup. So here, these head sculpts look really good. Like I actually really like these a lot. I've heard some people say they don't like them, and I disagree. At first, I didn't care for them very much, but seeing them like this, I'm like, these actually look pretty good, to be honest. Like, I think they're not quite as detailed or sharp as some of the like unlicensed ones are, like recustom and stuff, but they're basically good enough that if I had these, I probably wouldn't feel the need to get a recustom or something. Cause I'd be like, it's a bit better, but not that much better, okay? But yeah, I just want to highlight, I do like the head sculpts. I like how the hair looks. The shading in the hair looks very nice here and everything. So there are some things I like about the figure. I like how his chest looks as well. The chest and the neck really look like that DBZ buff aesthetic, so I like that. Now, let's get into the critique. So first, I'm going to show you this video here that I believe Tamashi posted this on their Instagram. Burst ZG posted on his YouTube. And it's basically just an unboxing and a little bit of a showcase of the articulation and posability and accessories and stuff. I'm gonna have it muted just in case there's any like copyright music or whatever, but this is it. Oh, okay, I said I was gonna mute it, I didn't. How do I mute this? All right, let me just do this. All right, I muted it. We'll say as well, like, I don't like the fact that they have this big circle in the middle. Like, you don't need to put dynamic movable shoulders in the center of the box. Like, you could have put it down here or something, you know what I mean? But anyways, this is the kind of, as they call them, quote unquote, budget figure, right? Apart from the hips right there, you see, I hate that. I absolutely flipping hate that. I hate those hip flaps, man. Like, oh my goodness. Like, they annoy me so much. So much. I'm like, why do you keep doing them? I hate those flipping flaps, man. All right, let's continue. Look at them just gets me angry, man. Oh, no. Dang. Oh my goodness. Now we get into the rough part. Okay. When I saw this on Instagram for the first time, I was like, what the heck, bro? Oh, dude. Dude. Come on, man. Seriously? Man, come on. I'm so baffled when I see people saying stuff like, you know, like, I don't know, like, they're like, oh, the gap doesn't matter, the articulation is great. Dude, that looks horrible, man. That looks absolutely atrocious, okay? And as someone pointed out on Instagram, they mentioned that Reveltech and stuff get, like, you know, really good articulation like this as well, but they don't have all those gaps in there. And as, you know, BurstZG pointed out, and I agree with this, why couldn't they just have extended this orange part, right? Extend this orange thing so that when he, you know, twists to the side, it's filled in with more orange rubber or whatever. Simple. And if it's a soft rubber or soft plastic or whatever, then it shouldn't hinder the articulation very much. It should, like, you know, bend and twist as he twists. So I am completely baffled as to why they thought, oh yeah, this is great. Let's release a figure that looks like the torso's falling off when you turn it to the side. Like, no, okay? No. This looks horrible. I do not like it at all. At all. Look at that. His stomach is completely gone. Like, dude, why would you do that? Yeah, I don't like that. So the gaps is, no, man. It's way too much gaps, man. And oh yeah, I've seen, I think 3 reviews so far. I saw BurstZG's review, Rockchala's review, and 86 Reviews review. And I think it was Rockchala who really pointed out, or at least in my memory, the fact that the shading is only on the front of the figure. Like, that's really, yeah, like, if you're going to shade the figure, you should just shade the whole figure. You know what I mean? It looks weird when the front is shaded and then you look at the back of the figure and it's just completely blank. You know, it's just like, if you're going to shade the figure, shade the whole flipping figure. Don't just shade the legs. And it's not even, the chest is not shaded at all. So it's just the legs and the hair from the front. That's it. It's like, dude, if you're going to shade it, shade the whole thing, okay? So let's move on now to other stuff I want to talk about. So yeah, so let's look at these hip flaps a little bit more, okay? You see the gaps, you saw the gaps there. Now let's look at the flaps. Like right here. So you can't really see Goku's flaps pointing out too much here, although look right there. You see how that is just like sticking out? Yeah, no, we need to get rid of that. We need to get rid of that, okay? We need to get rid of the flaps. And then Gohan has the same flaps. You know, I hate these flaps so much that I got this Gohan figure and I actually cut the flaps off of mine. I actually used like an X-Acto knife, I think it was, and I cut the flaps off, okay? I might put a picture on the screen so you can see what it looks like. It's not perfect, but I prefer to have that than to have these flaps. And of course, if they designed it originally to be like superhero Gohan, then it would look a lot better because it would be like engineered and designed that way from the start instead of me having to cut the flaps off, right? I hate these flippin' flaps. Get rid of them. Let's continue. Now, I will say the Tonson Gogeta, they also have flaps, but I feel as though, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it feels as though they execute it better or something. Like for some reason, it's not as aesthetically jarring as the Goku and the Gohan. Like, you know, when Gohan, look at Gohan, right? When he's standing there, the flaps are just flipping, just sticking out, right? But here, they're not that pronounced, and I think they're thinner as well, so they don't affect it as much. Like, in a sense, I would prefer if it didn't have the flaps, but I think the way that Tonson executed it is a lot better. And I'm honestly not sure why. You guys could probably mention in the comments, like, why you think that is, because I personally think these flaps look better than these flaps, and I don't know why, okay? But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. So like, not every figure that has flaps looks horrible to me, but in this case, I really hate them on the Gohan and the Games Begin Goku. And I will mention that the while Super Action Studio Goku has hip flaps, and Legendary Super Saiyan Goku also has them. But for me personally, I think that the hip flaps, they look okay on like a battle damaged Goku, because the fact that his shirt and stuff is like, you know, hanging over his waist, it kind of evens out the profile, so you don't have these things just sticking out with nothing above them. But with the battle damage, you have the shirt kind of sticking out to the same level, so it kind of makes it look more uniform. So I think on a battle damaged Goku, the flaps are not really an issue, or at least not for me personally. And just to show a bit more of the Gogeta here, if you look here, like, yeah, it has flaps for sure, but they don't look as jarring. You know, they just look, I don't know, more uniform, less jarring. There's something about the way they executed it that it looks nicer. And actually on my shelf is like, sometimes in some angles it's almost seamless where you can't even really tell where the flaps are and stuff. So it's like, it's a much better execution. Okay, we have the Oro, yeah, Super Z Gogeta version there. And then here we go. So personally, I think that Bandai should have stuck with the Superhero Gohan, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, DF Marshallus Forever style of legs. These look a lot better. They look a lot better. Way better, okay? And actually that's the reason why I have not pre-ordered any of the Games Begin Goku figures. You know, I haven't pre-ordered the Games Begin Goku. I haven't pre-ordered the Kind-Hearted Saiyan one. You know, Kind-Hearted Saiyan, I do like the head sculpts though. I'm going to talk about that a little later. But with the Games Begin, you know, I just hate those flaps so much that I much prefer this body style for Goku. And I ordered one of these Return from Beyonds recently, so we'll see if I get that, okay? But yeah, I mean, this just looks better. It just looks better. Let's see if we can see. Yeah, I mean, look at that, right? The flaps there compared to this, it just looks better. It just looks better. And people are going to say, oh, but the articulation. I mean, I personally, like, since I do animation, for me, the aesthetic of the figure, the look of the figure is very important. I don't only care about posing, you know? I care about how the figure looks as well, you know? And I just really hate how these look on these figures. They look atrocious to me, honestly. So yeah, I really prefer this style. And I think that what Bandai should do is try to perhaps improve upon an aesthetic more similar to this. I think this is the better route to take than these flipping like airplane wings, okay? It's like Cell. As someone said, they look like they have hips like Cell. Okay, these are Cell hips basically. So yeah, that looks way better to me. I like that. Continuing, of course, the articulation is not going to be as good as the Games Begin Goku, but you know, for me, I prefer the aesthetic enough to be willing to accept less articulation. You understand? Like, I hate the other look enough to where I'd be like, you know what? Although that can pose better, I prefer the look of this enough that I'm like, I prefer this figure overall. You know, now the head sculpts, I don't really like the head sculpts. They look pretty basic. They're not very detailed to me, you know. The yelling one I think looks pretty good. Let's see, did it show the yelling one? Hold on. Oh, let's see. Yeah, that one actually I think this one looks pretty good. The yelling one, and the teeth gritted might look pretty good too, I think. This might also look pretty good. But the stern one and the smile, like, they just, like, nah, I don't really like that, you know. But I do appreciate DF's prices generally. Although I will say, I think this Goku, it goes for about $50 generally. This should really be going for about 40 or 38 or whatever. Like, basically, because the Games Begin Goku is like 38, 40. So this shouldn't be like 50. You see what I'm saying? Because it's not even an official figure. And it's trying to compete with the Games Begin, apparently, right? So yeah. And someone mentioned on one of the videos I saw in a comment, I think, that the Yusuke SHF is really a nice aesthetic. And yes, this is solid. I think this is almost a perfection of the Superhero Gohan style, basically. You see? And you see how smooth that looks? It doesn't have like the big flipping flaps just sticking out like that. It looks, just looking at them makes me want to like vomit or something. Like, this is very nice. I think Dragon Ball should use these kinds of legs for like Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, that kind of stuff. This is the way to go, not the flipping flaps. Okay. Continuing, let's now look at the next thing here. Superhero Gohan himself. Yeah, so Superhero Gohan. Let's get this going. Yeah, this looks way better. Much nicer than the flaps. Okay. And yeah, let's continue now. Look at this. Seriously, look at this. I found this image on Google, right? And it's like, dude, no. Look at that. You can't even have him standing straight up like that because the flipping flaps are, dude, that's like what? Like 3 millimeters sticking off of his waist, man? That is ridiculous, dude. We need to get rid of these flipping flaps, okay? Need to get rid of them. They look horrible. How can you look at that and not be enraged? Okay, I can't even stand to look at it. I'm like, why did you do that? And as you guys know, if you've seen many of my videos, Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan is my favorite Dragon Ball character. And they ruined him with these flipping flaps, man. I had to chop them off myself, you know? And I'm like, why did you do this to Gohan? Why? Let's continue. So Trunks, the boy from the future. This is actually getting a reissue soon, I believe. And yeah, once again, the flipping flaps, man. I think this is actually, wasn't this the first figure that used these flaps? I think it was. The flipping flaps, bro. Now, when it's standing in, as they call the quote-unquote hero pose, you don't really notice it that much. But let's see here. Here we go. Oh my goodness, bro. Why? Look at this, man. How are you comfortable releasing this to the public? Dude, look at that, man. Look at that. I don't understand why. Like, I do see a decent amount of people criticizing the flaps, saying get rid of the flipping flaps, but not enough people. And I'm like, dude, how are you happy? Like, how can you wake up in the morning, right? And look at your figure display and be content within your being, looking at this thing and being like, yeah, I like having that on my shelf. I feel joy looking at these flaps. Like, no, bro, I can't. I just hate this thing, man. It's like, no, bro, I didn't even buy the the actual official Trunks. I actually have an unofficial one here. Let me see if I have a picture of it. Do I? Yeah. So the unofficial one, what do you notice here? What do you notice about the unofficial one? It has no flaps, okay? It actually used the superhero Gohan style of legs. Now, granted, the legs are a bit too wide. They should have slimmed the legs down a bit, but I take this over this. You see, look at the difference. Flaps? No flaps. Flaps. What? Oh, darn it. Hold on. Flaps. No flaps. Flaps. No flaps. Okay. So I actually prefer this to the official figure just because it doesn't have the flipping flaps. Let's continue. Now, the new Vegeta that's going to be released next year, right? Or at least it's planned to be released next year. It's called the Dangerous Pride Vegeta. This Vegeta, what do you notice about it? Is there anything interesting about this figure? Huh. Yeah, actually, it has no flaps. So why can they make Vegeta with no flaps? But for Trunks, Gohan, Goku, I think even the Daima Piccolo, they all have those flipping flaps, So this Vegeta looks pretty good to me. I don't necessarily plan to get it because, I mean, the 2.0 that I have is pretty similar. It's not like, a massive difference. So I might not get it because I'm like, why do I need the exact same attire again, right? But, it has no flaps, man, and it looks a lot better. This looks a lot better than this, okay? Bandai, please stop doing this. All right, and the last image here, Kind-Hearted Saiyan. So Kind-Hearted Saiyan, once again, it has the flaps and everything, probably gonna have the gaps as well, unless they make some changes before they release it. But the one thing I really like about this figure is the head sculpts, man. Like, dang it, when I saw the head sculpts, I was like, why do they look so good? Because now I'm gonna want those head sculpts. I honestly think these are close to perfect for like the first Broly movie, the Buu saga, like that late Dragon Ball Z Goku, man. Oh man, these head sculpts look pretty good to me. So I'm like, dang it, I might buy it just for the head sculpts, you know? But then it's like, I don't want to buy a figure just for the head sculpts, because then what am I going to do with the body? Like, sell it or just keep it and never use it, you know? Like, I don't know. And of course, yeah, the Tonson Art toys, you know, Goku on a bike head sculpts look pretty good, but they're all like kind of like happy Goku, and I kind of want some serious stuff too, you know? And I was like, dang it, man. Like, this looks really dang good. You know, and I mean, like, that's the thing. The profile of the body, if you ignore the flaps, the profile of the body looks really good. If this body, okay, didn't have any gaps, and it didn't have these flaps, it had the superhero Gohan style, I would be like, dang, this is awesome, you know? But then when you get to posing and you see all the gaps, you see the flaps, it's like, oh, please Bandai, you know, please. And yeah, so it doesn't have many faceplates, just 4 of them. And thankfully, they're not looking off to the side. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention here, one thing I really hate that absolutely annoys me is when they do faceplates looking off to the side and they don't have a counterpart that's like looking forward. Because as I mentioned before, if I'm going to animate with this and I have Goku with his teeth gritted and he's not looking to the flipping side, what am I going to have to do? If I want to be like completely consistent, I'm going to have to edit his eyes in every single frame, okay? Unless I repaint it myself or something, which I don't want to do. So I hate this side looking garbage. And that's why I skipped the Hunter x Hunter Gon and Killua. I skipped on both of them and I had the chance to buy them for a pretty good price. But the reason I skipped them is because almost all the faceplates were looking off to the flipping side. And I'm like, dude, why are all the faceplates looking off to the side? And there's even, there's something being released on anime. Let me try to find that real quick. Hold on. Yeah, so there's this Super Saiyan 1 and 2 Gohan head sculpt set up for pre-order on Anime Store. And it looks pretty good from the renders. We haven't seen a physical product yet, as far as I'm aware. But the renders look pretty good. Is for what price is it? 40 US, okay. It says original price $56.99, discounted price $39.99. Okay. But so look at this, right? Tell me, what the heck? Tell me, what do you notice about this? What do you notice about this? Well, like half the faceplates are looking off to the flippin' side, man. So there's no yelling looking forward. And look at this. They included 2 yelling head sculpts, right? And both of them are looking to the side. Dude, how can you include 2 yelling head sculpts and they're both looking off to the side? Seriously? And then the teeth gritted. Oh, what's the case here? They include 2 teeth gritted face sculpts, dude. 2 of them. Double up. And they're both looking to the flipping side. I'm like, why? At least make one of them look forward, you know what I mean? So that really disappointed me. So that's why I decided not to get this, because I'm gonna have to edit those eyes in every flipping frame, man. And I can't be bothered with that. It's too much. It's just edit every frame. I gotta edit the eyes, dude. No. So yeah, man, I don't know why they would do this. Why would you include 2 yelling head sculpts? 2! And they're both looking to the flipping side. Like, and 2 teeth gritted. So no. That's why I had to skip on this. If at least one of them was looking forward, like say the non-battle damage looking forward or something, then I'd be like, dude, yeah, like, you know, I'd probably want to get this instead of the Air Studio one. But because it has both Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2 in one, set, which is better, value, but I don't know. The looking off to the side thing, it just annoys me. So anyways, guys, yeah, as far as Dragon Ball figures go, if they continue with the hip flap thing and the gap thing, it is very possible that I won't be buying any official Goku figures, like new ones, for quite some time, because we might have just entered the hip flap era, or the gap and flap era, which I don't like. I actually prefer, as I said, the superhero Gohan, DF style, that kind of stuff. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know if you also, hate those flaps and gaps, and bye for now.